Alright, so let's show you examples of using trig to find missing sides. So we're going to be working with right triangles, so I'll go ahead and put a right angle in here. And first thing we do is we got to focus on whatever angle we're working with. So we're going to work with that 40 right here. Okay, then looking at that 40, I want to figure out which trig ratio is going to be used here. And how do I do that? As I look at two sides are presented. This side with the variable and this side with the 12. So in relation to that angle, I have to figure out what positions those are in. Okay, so the x is in the opposite position. Okay, and 12 is that hypo. Based on this, there is only one of these trig ratios we can use, and that is sine, because that is the only one that has opposite and hypo. So, second is we pick our trig ratio. So here's how we set up this math, okay? So we're going to do sine of angle 40 equals that opposite side of x over 12. Okay, so here is where we need our calculator. I'm going to put in my calculator sine 40 equals, and I'm going to go ahead and use just the 4 first decimals. 6,427 equals x over 12. So now all I have to do is figure out how to get x isolated, and x is being divided by 12. We solve it like an equation, so I'm going to multiply 12 to both sides, and I'm done. X is isolated, x is by itself, so I'm putting in 12 times 0.6427, and that side is 7.71 units long, inches, feet, whatever we're using. Alright, so let's try another one. Remember, if I'm going too fast, pause at any time, rewind it whenever you want. Okay, so here's the angle I'm picking. I'm picking 20. And based on those locations, I'm going to use the right location, the location of x and the location of 18. Well, we know 18 is hypo. I hope we got that down. And so over here is opposite, and opposite is not there, so I cannot use opposite. Therefore, the only one left is adjacent. So which is the trig ratio that only uses adjacent hypo? And that's cosine. Okay, so here is my math. I'm going to say the cosine of angle 20 equals adjacent, which is side x over hypo. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put that cosine 20 in my calculator. I'm going to use the first 4 digits equals x over 18. And to get x by itself, I am going to multiply 18 to both sides because x is being divided by 18. So 18 times 9396. Whoops, 18 times 0.9396. And that adjacent side I got to be around 16.91 units long. Okay, so hopefully that's not too bad, but now we have to be careful. There's a little bit of difference in our equations when what the missing side is on the bottom of our fraction. So here's what I mean by that. So when I set this problem up, the variable is going to be on the bottom of our fraction. So here I'm looking at 50. I'm identifying those sides. I have an opposite and I have a hypo. So once again, I am picking sine because that is opposite hypo. So be careful here. So watch. My variable does not automatically get put on the top. sine of angle 50 equals opposite over x. It's a little different. Okay, so in my calculator I'm going to go ahead and take the sine of 50. I'm going to use 0.766. I don't need that 0 on there. It doesn't do anything for us. 14 over x. So now, no matter what, I just want you to get in the habit of multiplying whatever's on the bottom of the variable to, or the bottom of this fraction to both sides. So yeah, I can multiply an x to both sides, so watch what happens. So if I multiply this by x, here is what that side looks like. Whoops, that's a 6. So it's just 0.766x equals 14, because these two cancel out. I divide by x, so I'm multiplying by x. So it's one last step, and that is to divide by that 766 to get x by itself. So I'm taking that. Alright, so let's get my calculator operating or how I would like it. 14 divided by 0.766, and I get 18.27-ish for that hypo. And that is how we use trig to find a missing side. So one more. So right here I have my angle, I have an opposite, I have an adjacent. That is going to be tan. This is our first tan. And please pause or rewind if I'm going too fast. You always have that option. So I'm going to say tan of angle 35 here equals opposite, and here we have another variable on the bottom. Okay, so I am going to do tan 35. 0.7's fine here because I got a bunch of zeros in there, equals 10 over x. Once again, no matter what, we're going to multiply what's on the bottom of the fraction to both sides. So now I'm multiplying by x, multiplying this whole side by x. What happens is these cancel out and 10 is left, and this just becomes 0.7x. So now, to isolate the x, I will divide the 0.7 and do that in my calculator here. 10 divided by 0.7, and I get x equals 14.285. Works for me. And I hope these 4 problems got you going and you understand, and remember, you can always come back to these and watch it step by step.